Hello and welcome to the United Stand. It's Liverpool versus Manchester United. Liverpool's best opportunity to beat Manchester United, I think. I think only they can come out of this with any shame, because we just have shame tattooed on our forehead like that woman walking down the street in Game of Thrones. But I welcome Craig to the show. Craig, Anfield Agenda. That's correct, isn't it?
It is indeed, Mark. How are you?
I'm very good, thanks. And I'm very grateful for you coming on the show, first of all, because we were just talking before I went live there. I mean, I wouldn't have thought many people will know who Craig is, because most of you are Manchester United fans, but very much in the similar sort of vein to United Stand. I stumbled across this channel about 3 months ago, and live streams, talking to the fans, interacting with the fans, watch-alongs. That's what you're all about, really, Craig. Saying it out, it is.
Yeah, that's what you tried to do, Mark. And I like what you did there at the start of this interview. Tried to downplay United's chances in this game, putting all the pressure straight back onto our shoulders. Good man.
But to be honest with you, I don't know whether you've seen what I've been saying recently, but I'm not going to be totally negative, because actually I do think there is an opportunity for United there. But much the same as I said to the Arsenal fans a couple of weeks, it's a massive opportunity for you, because you're in a better situation than Arsenal. You're top of the league, and I was saying that in the week. Liverpool top of the league. I hate to say it, deserve to be there, but it's very important from your point, I suppose, to stay top. There's no point being top for a week and Man City get it back. I think Man City will start to get concerned if you can stay top, and what an opportunity this weekend. I mean, a draw's not good enough for you. You've got to be a win. Are you confident you're going to get that win?
Yes, in all honesty, I am. The thing is, it's a home game for Liverpool, so you've got to look at this as 3 points. A draw away at Old Trafford would be acceptable, but where we are now, we can't slip up, and excuse the pun, but we can't. We can't let any opportunity drop. This is an infinitely winnable game for Liverpool, but form goes out the window, Mark, as you know, in these games. How many times over the years have we seen United come to Anfield flying, and then Liverpool put them in their place? Yeah. It lifts players, this game. It's a different game to most games. You can talk about the Arsenal game, and that was a good, entertaining game of football, actually. I enjoyed watching that one. But for us, this is different. This means everything. You know that yourself. There's nothing worse. Maybe for you losing to City, for us Everton, but there's nothing worse than losing to us, for you guys.
No, I mean, I'm not from Manchester, so, I get the Manchester City derby thing, but for me, it's always been Liverpool. And for me, it's the biggest game in the world. It's the biggest rivalry. I don't like using the word hate, but United fans, I think hate's a bit strong, but it's the team, it's the result you don't want to win, and I believe that is because there are very, very similar things about our history, about our success, and this is the result that matters the most to me, and it's sad that I sort of believe our manager has lowered expectations so low that we are going into this game expecting to lose, because we never should do. But the flip side is, I was going to ask you about this, Mourinho, the last 2 games at Anfield, came there, parked the bus. Klopp hasn't beaten Mourinho as a Liverpool manager yet. And again, I don't want to heap the pressure on, but what an opportunity it is. I mean, he could, and fingers crossed, some United fans would say, if we did get hammered on Sunday, that would be the end of the Mourinho. But, I mean, it really is. Which is why I think, is there any part of you that's concerned? Because Mourinho could just produce something where he parks the bus and nicks a goal. I think that's all we can do.
I don't think concerned is the word I'd use. Respectful is more the word I'd use. Jose can come and set up to get a point. He's done it throughout his entire career wherever he's gone. He knows how to play away from home, particularly in Europe. For me, I look at this game as an early goal. And look, it's an easy thing to say, but we need an early goal. If we get an early goal, then I think this game really opens up and the floodgates could open. What I don't want as a Liverpool fan, and maybe what you want as a United fan, is Liverpool to be knocking and nothing to happen. Get to the 85th minute. Set piece from Young or something, corner comes up, Fellaini's on the end of it, and there goes our hopes and dreams. So for us, we've got to, if we start with the same intensity that we did midweek against Napoli, I think we win this game, and I think we win it quite easily.
I'll tell you what, I watched the Napoli game, and I hate using the word impressed when I'm talking about Liverpool, but what caught my eye, let's lower it down a bit, is that Napoli were a good team, I felt, and the massive difference I've noticed when watching Liverpool the couple of times I've seen them this season, which were both in the Champions League, is what he's done with the defence. Now, obviously, Alisson's improved it. I mean, Van Dijk for me is fundamental, but it was the fact that one goal was enough, whereas I think at this time last year Liverpool was struggling defensively. How do you think you'll approach this United game sort of formation wise? I know you've got a few injuries. Do you think he'll just do the 4-3-3 as always and just go on the front foot, or do you think he might try and pull United out a little bit like he did with Napoli?
You'll get two different answers from two different sets of fans. What you'll probably get is the 4-3-3 that Klopp seems to like, but you'll get some people who want the 4-2-3-1. Now, look, sometimes we get a little bit caught up on formations, don't we? It depends how the game goes. It depends how United set up. I mean, looking at your team from reading, and I don't watch United much if I'm being honest. I mean, why would I? You're probably the same with Liverpool. The watch
You wouldn't want to watch us anyway. We're shit.
Well, I've seen that you could have 9 injuries, Mark, for this game, up to 9 injuries, so that doesn't really leave. And then Pogba, I don't know what's going on there with Pogba, but all I'm hoping for as a Liverpool fan is that Phil Jones plays. Obviously, all else fails, we can just put him through in the last minute, it'll be job done.
Yeah. I tell you what, Phil Jones, he's like playing snooker with a length of rope. He is absolutely shocking. And I hate saying that about our own players, but he really is. What I would say is about the injury things, because I know people are watching, is I actually think it's a bit of a Mourinho smokescreen. I don't think we've got that many injuries. I think... he mentions Martial, Delot, Luke Shaw. I think all of those will be fit. I think the players that will probably be missing aren't players that, to be honest, I think will be that fussed about missing. I think Rashford's fit, Lukaku is fit. So I think Mourinho is probably trying to play it down and trying to get a bit of an advantage. But you've got a few injuries yourself. I mean, that Gomez one, as an England fan, I mean, I've really got back into England. He has looked very, very good. He's obviously out for a while, but was there a couple of injuries from the other night that you've got? I seem to recall that a couple of players had a couple of knocks, or are you fighting fit?
I don't want to call it an injury crisis, Mark, but there are a few, yeah. We've got Kleiny, who's just coming back from an injury, so he could possibly fill in for Trent, who we still don't know about. Trent is up in the air. Joe Matip did his collarbone, so himself and Joe Gomez are both looking at 6 weeks, on the sidelines. Milner has a touch of cramp as well, so nearly every option we have available to fill in at right back or centre back is done. So we're looking at a bare bones back four. Probably Fabinho, Lovren, Van Dijk and Robertson. And look, it's not too shabby. Fabinho's played there before. He played there at Monaco. I think he began his career there when he was at Real Madrid, I think, as a right back, if memory serves correct. So I'm not too worried, but you'd prefer to have your first 11 all the time.
Yeah, Fabinho's a funny one because I really wanted to sign him, but he obviously ended up at Liverpool. But he used to be definitely right back, because I remember at Monaco we were looking at him probably 2 or 3 years ago as a potential right back in there. Go on then, give us your score prediction in this game. We'll do that next. How do you fancy it?
I'm going to be kind here. I'm going to go 2-0. I think we'll keep a clean sheet. I think we'll get one early. Well, I say early, in the first half hour. And then I think we'll just wear United down, and perhaps substitutions will come into play. Shaqiri might come on when United have tired legs. Look, I'll go 2-0, but you know yourself, it could be 0-0, 1-1, absolutely anything.
Yeah, I mean, I should have thought this through. I think it's going to be comfortable 2, 3 or 4-0 to Liverpool, or 0-0. I'm to be honest with you, it's just not Manchester United, and it's not your concern, but it's just not Manchester United. I was embarrassed the last 2 times we went to Anfield and parked the bus. I just don't think that's the way you should approach these sort of games. We did it at Man City last month. We're totally going to do it here because, I mean, he just doesn't know how to defend Mourinho at the moment. We've nearly conceded the same amount of goals now as we did in the whole of last season. So the prospect of us coming to your place, playing football against you, would be football suicide, really. It would be stupid. I actually accept we've got to come and park the bus because we can't do anything else. So I think 0-0 or 2 or 3. If you get an early goal, I think that could open it up a bit, because we would have to come out. But I just do not see it. I really do not see us comfortably winning any game at the moment. So I think we could nick it, a draw. But to be honest with you, I hate to say it. I think I would favour the Liverpool winning this, because the crowd's gonna be rocking, as you know, I mean, one interesting thing from looking away from the game a little bit, I wanted to get your thoughts on the pundits, because you spoke about Pogba there. Obviously, Graham Souness, ex-Liverpool great, has always been quite critical of Paul Pogba. Carragher said he's the most indisciplined player ever, which I think was a little bit tongue-in-cheek, knowing Carragher. And Roy Keane's going to be part of the Sky Sports punditry on Sunday, so I think that's going to be very, very interesting. But just as an outsider looking in, is Paul Pogba a player that would interest you at Liverpool? Because we've had some people on saying, I would take him. I think Mourinho's not getting the best out of him. I think he'd do well at our club. Or do you think he's a bit of a broken, a bit overhyped?
It's a really tough question. I've seen him play at Juventus and I've seen him play with a bit more freedom, and he was an infinitely better player. I don't know if he just doesn't fit in with Mourinho, if he's just not used to the type of discipline Mourinho expects from his players. I wouldn't have him at Liverpool, but it's not because I don't think he's a good enough player. I just don't think he would really suit the way we play. And again, I might have some questions about his tactical discipline, but that's a little bit naive because I haven't watched enough of Pogba for United to really say that. Is he a good player? Yes, of course. You cannot say Paul Pogba is not a good player. He's strong, he's athletic, he knows where the goal is. He can switch off, he can do things a little bit silly. And I actually have a question mark I'd like to put back to you, if that's okay.
Yeah.
I've often wondered about this, and I don't really get a chance to ask many United fans, but for me, I've never looked at Jose Mourinho as a Manchester United type manager. He just doesn't carry himself like a Manchester United manager. And it kills me to say this, but you look at Sir Alex Ferguson, he carried himself like a manager that carried a club, that walked the way Manchester United need to walk. He played the mind games when he needed to, but he was a leader. And I don't see Mourinho as being that leader. I see him being somebody that just looks after number one and not the club as a whole. And we lacked that for a long time. But with Jurgen Klopp now, I think we've somebody who actually cares about the club more than himself.
Yeah, 100%. And I think, I was very happy when we got Mourinho, but that was because I was looking at his Wikipedia page. He wins the title in the first 2 years and we were desperate for a title. But actually, I think the warning signs are there and you've hit the nail on the head. It's funny, actually, because talking about Liverpool, I did a video about 3 months ago and I basically said Liverpool are the new United. And I base that on the fact that I think they are probably the closest thing to a Sir Alex Ferguson prime team out there. The way you've got attacking young fullbacks, the way, there's a mix of British talent with foreign talent. That, we end games well, but we don't play well in the game. Whereas Klopp, if it's a draw, he's going for wins. So, I mean, you must be absolutely ecstatic. I suppose the next step for Liverpool is getting a trophy, because that's something that not only levelled at Liverpool but recent years, but Klopp as well. He's a bit of always the bridesmaid, never the bride.
It's difficult to say when that time has to come. You always look for progression, and I think we've had that every year with Klopp, but there is no shying away from it. You would like to see some silverware in the cabinet. It's nice to get the Champions League finals. It's nice to qualify every year, but this year, I'm not going to lie, I'm laser focused on Liverpool trying to win that Premier League title. I don't care if we go out of Europe. I don't care if we go out of the FA Cup. Would I like to win them? Yes, 100%. But for me, we have a great chance this year. We were close. I think we had to turn over something like a 24-point gap last year for Manchester City. To start off the way we have, to have set a record for our club for the most ever points total, it's fantastic. The fan base is united. The club is united. Excuse the pun on that one again. But we're going in the right direction, Mark, and it is a good time to be a Liverpool player. Now, what you were saying about Liverpool reminding you about United, football is cyclical. It goes in cycles, and it could be our turn now. Manchester United had decades of it. We had decades before that. I don't even want to talk about Manchester City because I don't even rate them. I don't believe in them as an actual force. What I think about Manchester City, I can't really say on here because I'll probably be sued. But for me, I think it's Liverpool's time. I think we've got the right manager, and I think we will put some silverware in the cabinet very soon.
Yeah, I mean, the thing there is it's I suppose from that Liverpool point of view, like you say, I don't think, I feel that Mourinho should be sacked, but I don't think we're going to be looking at a title anytime soon. I think we need a total and utter rebuild, which when I look at what Klopp's done, when I look at what Pochettino's done at Spurs, that is the sort of the process that United need to go to. I mean, just a quick one. This might be a very quick one as well. We like to do a combined 11. I don't think you're going to accept any United player. I mean, to be honest with you, I wouldn't swap De Gea for the world, but beyond De Gea, I can't. Everything I say is hypothetical. If Eric Bailly played a lot of games, I think he's a good centre-back. If Pogba was actually in our team, I think he could be in there. But actually, I think I'm just going to be honest and say De Gea, and then you can have the rest. But you're going to say Alisson anyway, so, that is how bad United are at the moment. The and then that is that is not just me. That'll be all our United fans saying it as well. So a year ago, I remember doing it, and it was around a 50-50 split. So that shows you not only the progression of yourselves, but the regression of Manchester United.
It is difficult. It is difficult to make a case for a United player to get in, even putting aside my Liverpool bias. And David De Gea is, in my opinion, he's the best goalkeeper in the world. I don't care if he's gone through a bit of a down period or he's made some mistakes. I rate David De Gea very, very highly. He's proved himself. I probably would give him the nod over Alisson in the combined 11, but Alisson is, a fantastic goalkeeper. Other than that, Look, being honest, Mark, it is. It's tough to make a case. I'm not saying Liverpool have the best 11 in the Premier League. I'm not saying in every position we're fully stocked and we're fantastic. But as it stands, as you rightly said yourself, it is tough. If Pogba was playing every week and he was in form, maybe we could have that conversation. But as it stands, it is tough to make a case.
I mean, there's a few people saying Martial, and I think Martial is certainly a good shout. But the problem is you've got Salah, Mane, who actually have been more consistent over the last 18 months, and that's why I wouldn't put Martial in there. I think he's potentially better, but that's the problem with United. We're always talking about potential. What I want to do, say, Craig, is before you go, I mean, surely if you were to win the league by a couple of points, you'd have to give a winner's medal to Jordan Pickford.
Yeah, it was a special kind of stupidity, wasn't it? God bless him and his little T-Rex arms. What was he doing? What was he doing? The ball was going out over the bar. All he had to do was guide it and see it past. God bless him.
I tell you what, if any other season I would have gone mad. And it just shows how far we are behind you in points, that actually you winning doesn't make any difference on our season. It'll make a bloody lot of difference if you win the title, because that'll be very hard to swallow. But yeah, we'll have to wait and see. But I tell you what, I really appreciate you coming on, Craig. I've really enjoyed it. Yeah, give a shout out for your YouTube channel.
Yeah, Anfield Agenda. As you said, we do match day watch-alongs where we do streams every night about 10:15. We're a rather late channel. We come on quite late because I have to put my son to bed and stuff like that. And a massive shout out to Connor as well, who runs the channel with me. Without him, it wouldn't be there. So thank you, Mark. And I would say enjoy the game, but I don't really want you to, if I'm being honest.
I tell you what, I must admit, you'll be the same as well. I'm sure the nerves are going to kick in for you more than they will for us. And I say that simply because our expectations have been kicked in the dirt so much this season. I'm looking forward to the game because part of me is quite sadistic and thinks if we did get turned over by our biggest rival, then the board, which is a big problem for us, have got to look at that. But I'm going into it, can't wait for it. I mean, and actually, I think I'm expecting us to lose, but if we did win, it would be banter on you. So you've got every right to be confident, though, and I am looking forward to the game, but my expectations are pretty low, to be honest.
We'll have you on Monday, hopefully, anyway, on our channel for a bit of a review of the game.
Yeah, definitely. I'm more than happy to do that. Thanks for coming on, pal, and I'll speak to you soon.
Take care.
Cheers, pal. And I just want to say as well, look, the way I found Anfield Agenda was that I spend a lot of time on the United stand late at night doing bits of editing and stuff like that. Well, I say a lot of time. I don't want to lie. I do spend some time, and I basically what have I done here? There we go. I basically was just looking on YouTube and I stumbled on this account, Anfield Agenda, on YouTube. And they do videos at about 10:30 UK time. And I'm going to talk, there's loads of United stuff I need to talk about. But the funny thing is, we get a lot of people watching this channel who are not United fans. And I'll be honest with you, I've never quite understood why. And then I watched Anfield Agenda with Craig talking to Liverpool fans with the live comments, and I was like drawn in. It was almost like watching your own show, because it's not as good as our show, obviously, because we're the best. But I really did enjoy it, even though it was about a club I don't care about. Just listening to fans who really care and being open and honest and not giving a shit about what the mainstream media thinks. I really enjoyed it. So 10:30, Anfield Agenda. Get over there and watch it. They do watch-alongs as well, so you might enjoy it. But yeah, certainly give it a go. And I really appreciate Craig coming on because he does have his say, and I really enjoyed it. But that's my predicted lineup on the left for this game against Liverpool. As I said, my prediction for the game is sort of split. I think we could get a draw, 0-0, park the bus, or I think we'll lose 2 or 3-0. And I'm going to sway towards lose, which actually, I never say we're going to lose, do I? I never say we're going to lose. But that's the team I think we'll go with on the left. I want to talk about Paul Pogba. I want to talk about Jose Mourinho's Christmas ban. And I want to talk about Pereira and Fred a little bit in the little bit of time that we've got left. So please do drop a like on the video if you enjoyed that. I think that's one of the better previews we've had so far. Really appreciated it from Craig. And a lot of people say, why don't you get Red Men TV on? Well, I've asked them year after year, and sometimes they don't even reply to emails. So this year I was like, I'm not asking them. The size the United stand is now, do we really need to be begging people to reply to emails? So they're always welcome, but they never approach us, and we move on. And actually, I like what Craig's doing. So we asked him, and he said yes. So that's why that happens. No issues. So that's the team I think we'll go with. He's already said that Rashford, Lingard and Ashley Young will start the game. That means Dalot or Luke Shaw won't. Now, this talk of injury to Martial, Luke Shaw, Dalot, I actually think they're smokescreen injuries. I think all three of those players will play. I think Martial will play on the left, Rashford on the right, Rashford up front, Lingard to the right. I think Pogba's going to play. I think Herrera and Matic were obviously going to play. I think Pogba will play. I'll come back to him in a minute. Shaw, I think, will play at left back. I don't think Dalot will play. I think he'll play Young. And I think it'll be Smalling and Bay with De Gea in goal. Centre-backs, for me, are interesting because Smalling will obviously play. Eric Bailly or Jones. I don't think he can play Rojo because Rojo doesn't look fit and Lindelof's injured. Would you play Phil Jones? As I said before, it's like playing snooker with a length of rope. Pointless. You cannot do it. So I think he's got to play Eric Bailly and Smalling. Matic will play. Herrera will play. Now, the midfield's interesting because he could play Lingard in the midfield and play Mata on the right, or he could put Fellaini in the midfield. But I think if he doesn't play Pogba and we lose, he's screwed. He's going to get a load of stick. I think he has to play Paul Pogba in this game and sort of chuck the grenade, so to speak, onto the pitch and let it do what it's going to do, whether it's going to go off or not. The pressure's on Pogba then, it's not on Mourinho. So I think he will play Pogba in this game. I think Martial will be fit and I think Martial will play. And to be honest with you, what I wanted to say is when I was putting that team together, because that's the predicted team, I think he'll play that team. When you look at it, it's probably about the best team I would put out. I mean, I wouldn't play Young and play Dalot, but that team is probably the team I would play. I mean, I don't like Matic, but Fellaini was crap as CDM last night. And would you really play Pereira and Fred when they look about as fit as an unfit thing? They're not match fit, you know, and I'm going to come back to that in a minute as to why they're not match fit, but you can't play them, so he's got to play Matic. The front three is probably the front three I'd go with. So if he actually does pick that team, I think it's pretty much the best team we can pick at the moment with no Lindelof or Sanchez around either. So if he puts that team out, I can't actually complain. I really couldn't. Ben Thompson says, should Pereira start? Josh Connell says, this is the best channel I've ever watched. Never been drawn to subscribe to anything beforehand. The United stand and have barely missed a show since. Best channel. What a nice comment that was. Lukaku will start 100% dead man walking, says Dylan Walsh. Well, a few things I need to come back on there. Andres Pereira is a player I like. Fred is a player I like. They were both shite last night. And I'm sorry to swear, but they were both rubbish. And I like them. But I will say this. Just because I like a player, I won't protect them. People think I protect Paul Pogba and Anthony Martial. I will be open and honest when they are crap. Pogba was crap against Southampton. Diabolical. But I like Pogba. I just don't think we're getting the best out of him. I think what's happened with Fred and Pereira is that you can't play them. You can't play them. They're not match fit. And this is not down to themselves. They started the season quite well. They were on the US tour. They were doing really well. And what's happened, more or less, since August is Mourinho's hardly played them. They've not been anywhere near the first team. And that is total and utter mismanagement. And this doesn't get mentioned enough. Total and utter mismanagement of players that are not match sharp and are absolutely lost. They're not playing. They're not getting any first team football. So they're not going to be involved. Well, we haven't got any tactics, so we can't say that. But there's a difference between training ground fitness and match fitness. And he has not kept those players match sharp. Pereira has not been involved for months. Fred has hardly been involved for months. And he plays them in a big game against Valencia last night. And it was a big game, because I know people are talking about Valencia being 15th. But I told you before the game, they're 4 points off relegation, but they're 4 points off the top 6. It's a very tight league. And they're a very good footballing team. You chuck Fred and Pereira there, and it's basically like 3 or 4 two players who've been on holiday for 3 weeks coming back for pre-season. A lot of people wanted to call them crap last night, and I will call them crap. But there's a level to that crapness because they're not fit. They're not match fit because he's mismanaged those players. He's basically had 2 players at the start of the season who looked like they were going to be really good, and he's allowed them to go into the field, eat grass, and get totally and utterly not match fit. And that's what we saw with Fred and Pereira. So you can't play them. They can't be played at the moment. Their season is basically over. You can't use those players because the team's in such a mess. We can't actually give them the games they need to get back up to match fitness again. So he chucks them into one game and expects them to, Harry Potter time, magic. It's not going to happen. And he came out after the game and he said, that result didn't surprise me. These are the players that you want. This is what you get. Well, to be honest, Josie, it didn't surprise me either. It doesn't surprise me that players that you've mismanaged don't play well because they've got no confidence and no match fitness. Now, talking about Paul Pogba, the reality is with Paul Pogba that I actually thought he played well last night, especially in the last 15 minutes when we went for it. That's going to divide opinion. But I think Paul Pogba's got to play in this game. I really do. I think you've got to persist with a player like Paul Pogba, and you've got to try and get the best out of Paul Pogba. And I do think that Paul Pogba in the midfield with Matic and Herrera will be better, because Matic is going to do all the donkey work and Herrera's going to do all the running around, and that should free Pogba up. The flip side of that coin is I don't think we're going to attack much. So if he doesn't play Pogba and he plays Fellaini, for me, that is the white flag going up. He's got to play Pogba, because if he plays Pogba, he is our best attacking midfielder, and it shows a bit of impetus to try and go and get something from the game. If we go in with a midfield of Matic, Herrera and Fellaini, it just says we're trying to stop this result. We're trying to stop losing this game. And I think that is the way that we're going to approach it. But I think he's got to find a place for Paul Pogba in that team. So that's why I would play him. I've got to read this out. I mean, this is in the Daily Mail, so it may not be true. Please do drop a like on the video, everyone. It'd be lovely to go over 500 likes while we're live. I've really enjoyed this preview tonight, and I hope you as well. It's really great getting people on from other channels of other clubs. Coco the cat is behind me. Hello, Coco. Actually, give us a little bit of a nod there. Don't crap on my sofa, you little shit. But what I was going to say, I've lost my train of thought. Yeah, apparently Jose Mourinho is going to be the Scrooge of Christmas. Well, don't let him ruin your Christmas. That's what I say. Drink wine, drink fizzy lemonade, whatever. Enjoy your Christmas. Don't let him ruin your Christmas. But apparently he's going to ruin the Manchester United players' Christmas, because he wants them in for training at 4 o'clock on Christmas Day, and then they've got to spend the night in the hotel with him playing charades. No, that bit's a joke, but they have got to play in the hotel. But to be honest with you, why is that a bad thing for Manchester United? You know, you have a light lunch and you go and train. At least they don't have to put up with another stuffing. I thought they would have had enough of stuffings this season. But you know what? I think there's many reasons to go in on Mourinho. There's a whole list to go in on Mourinho, but I'm not going to go in on Mourinho for getting millionaire footballers to come to work at 4 o'clock on Christmas Day when they've got a game the next day. You know, what do they think? What does the media think should happen? They should be sat at home glugging red wine, tucking into cranberry and turkey sandwiches, bloating up, less than 24 hours before a football match. They're paid a lot of money. When they have a short career. In their 30s, they'll retire and they can eat as many pigs in blankets as they like, as much nut roast, whatever takes your fancy. This is 10 years of your life playing for Manchester United if you're lucky. Oh, you've got to, you wake up with your family, you open your presents, you have a salad instead of a turkey, and I tell you what, if you've got kids and that, and you're a United player and you're feeling a bit grumpy because you've got to go and train at 4 o'clock on Christmas Day, have a look at your bank balance. In fact, get one of those live bank balances where it shows you how much you're being paid every minute, because the thousands that roll in will soon make you feel a little bit more jolly on Christmas. I have no sympathy for footballers over Christmas. I don't. You're living the dream. You're living the dream, especially if you're wearing a Manchester United shirt. You are living the bloody dream. So what if you don't get to stay at home and watch It's a Wonderful Life and repeat Sir James Bond? Get on the training pitch, put a bloody performance in on Boxing Day. If it's true, it's true. And I don't think footballers should be getting, especially not this season, special dispensation because it's bloody Christmas. Tough. Boxing Day football's been around for ages. I haven't got any interest in that. If they've got to go and train, they've got to go and train. Tough. But this is what I'm on about. Don't let them ruin your Christmas. We're going through enough as it is as United fans. And actually, they're a bunch of millionaires. All of them. Mourinho, Woodward, the whole first team squad, they're multi-millionaires. Don't feel sorry for them. Genuine. I mean, to be honest with you, I'm going to say the Pogba thing's starting to bore me now. I'm looking around on Twitter and all I can hear is, oh, it's Pogba's fault, is it? Oh, yeah, it is Pogba's fault. Oh, it's Pogba's fault, is it? Look, I stick up for Pogba, but I'm getting a little bit bored of the pro-Pogba thing, the anti-Pogba thing. The reality is he's a very good footballer. He's having a very inconsistent season. I believe that is to do with the tactics and the manager. That's where it ends for me. I don't really want to talk about, he's being, the anti stuff is ridiculous as much as the pro stuff is ridiculous. He's not actually lit the world on fire as a United player. I think he can do, and I think we have to wait until a new manager with more attacking tactics come in to see if we get the real Paul Pogba. But I put my hand up and say, I like Pogba, everyone knows I do. But if a new manager like Zidane came in and Pogba continued performing like he is now for Zidane, I'd say get out the club, you're inconsistent in your shit. I would. If that happens in a year's time, I will say it. I just believe that Pogba is inconsistent because the way we play football doesn't play to his strengths. But there is a chance that even if we did have a Pochettino or a Zidane or whoever, he'd still be inconsistent. At which point I would agree with everybody else and say he's crap, get out. But at the moment, I don't think you can say that because he's playing in a team where all our flair players fail. So, but I think it is. I've seen a lot of it on Twitter today. I mean, I saw rants going on about it as well on Twitter. Like, I think he's taken it to ridiculous levels now. This Pogba, this pro Pogba thing. Like, he actually hasn't played that well this season. I even agree that we're not seeing the real Paul Pogba because of the manager. But we're all taking a massive leap of faith, saying, "Oh yeah, he's the best midfielder in the world elect." I mean, we just need a new manager to see if we can get that out of him. That's my opinion on it. But I'm getting bored of it. I got bored of the Martial thing. I mean, I stuck up for him. I'll stick up for Pogba, but I'm getting bored of it now. The reality is we're never going to know. We're never going to solve the Pogba situation while Mourinho's here. And that's the same for a lot of people. I think Alexis Sanchez is the same. I think Martial's the same. I think Rashford's the same. I don't think we'll see the best of those players until we remove Jose Mourinho. But that may not happen for 4 or 5 months. So I think we've just got to... I think the Pogba debate sort of needs to go to bed. I really do, because it won't be won until Mourinho's gone. If he leaves in January, it's a big deal, says Marcus S. Well, if Pogba leaves in January, then to be honest with you, I'd be annoyed with Pogba. Because if Pogba really does love Manchester United, he should have the patience that we have as fans. I pretty much think Mourinho's here till May and then he gets the sack. If I was Paul Pogba, I'd be like, I've just got to ride it out. And then there's going to be a new manager here. And then I can do what I want to do for this club that I apparently love. So if Pogba forced to move in January, let him go. If he's so impatient to get out, let him go. I can sort of understand it, but actually, if he loves the club, just be a little bit patient. Let's get this Mourinho out and let's do it properly. Roy Keane. Roy Keane is going to be a pundit for Sky Sports on Sunday. What do I think about that? I can pretty much predict. I think some of it will be good and I think some of it will be frustrating. I mean, Keane's not the biggest fan of Pogba, so he's going to get on with Graham Souness. But hopefully he'll be absolutely frank about Mourinho. But to be honest, I've listened to Roy Keane over the last few months and he's been quite positive about Mourinho as well. And he likes to go in on the players. So everybody who says, it's going to be really interesting, I don't think it's going to fit the agenda of many of you lot. I think Roy Keane will go in on the players and protect Mourinho. And if he does that, I'd rather listen to Scholes and Rio. As much as Roy Keane's my favourite player for United, I don't want to listen to another ex-player like Gary Neville protecting Mourinho. So I love Roy Keane, but if he's going to protect Mourinho, I think I'm going to find that pretty hard to swallow. But it should be interesting. Anyway, I'm more interesting, surely. Our community is more interesting than that scripted nonsense. But yeah, I think, look, I'm very excited about the game. I can't wait for it. I've got no expectations in it. And that's not because Mourinho's lowered my expectations. I will always say that United should be where Liverpool are. We should be fighting for a title. But we're not there because this man is destroying our club. I'm not going to accept that. I'm going to moan about it all the time like I still do. It's not acceptable where United are. But we go into this game as massive underdogs, and I can't remember the last time we went to Liverpool as underdogs like this. They're massive favourites, and I'm quite relaxed about it. I'm expecting us to lose, but imagine if we scammed a result. And forget Mourinho, it's not about him, it's about Manchester United versus Liverpool this weekend, and I can't ever go into a game against Liverpool ever and say I'd rather lose to get rid of Mourinho. No, I want to beat Liverpool. It matters. I want to beat Liverpool. You think about Wanfield when Mata scored that goal. We remember that. When Gerrard got sent off, we remember that. You remember winning at Anfield, and I would love it if they had 100 shots on goal. De Gea was man of the match, and then like Craig says, the last minute, Ashley Young whips a cross in, it skims off Fellaini's arse, and we win it 1-0. I think the banter would be absolutely brilliant. That would almost be the best result because we'd sit Liverpool down, we'd absolutely mug them off. We look at ourselves and laugh because we're shit, but we've won. That, to me, is the best scenario on Sunday. Go there, park the bus, scam a win, walk away. We're shit and we know we are, but we've beat Liverpool. That, for me, is the best case scenario because we're not going to go there and play well. We're not. It's not going to happen. I know it's Christmas, but we're not getting a Christmas miracle like that. We're not going there and playing well because we haven't played well for 3 years. So how are we going to suddenly go there and play great football? We know Liverpool are going to play great football because that, unfortunately, is what they've been doing for the last couple of years. We can't go toe to toe with a team like that. What we're going to learn tiki-taka fast football and pressing in 3 days. We're not going to do it, and we haven't got the personnel to do it either. We've got to go there. We've got to camp on the edge of the box, and we've got to try and get a result. And for everybody who says, well, Ashley Young will pocket Mo Salah, look, if you know anything about football, Ashley Young did pocket Mo Salah, but it's very easy to pocket a player when you're camped on the edge of the box, and that's what we did at Old Trafford. You know, you think about Mo Salah, where he exposes people is when he's running at them, when he's got space to run into. If your back four's camped on the edge of the box, and then your midfield is 5 yards in front of them, putting someone in your pocket's quite easy because there's no space. So we can do it, but that's what we're going to have to do. Hakil Hall says, deep down, do you think you're going to get a result? I think we can get a result because I think Jose Mourinho, this is the sort of thing. If you're thinking Mourinho is going to get sacked on Sunday night, this is the sort of result Mourinho will get. He'll go there and get a point. He'll go there and nick a win. There's no logical reason to suggest that's going to happen, but it can happen. But I haven't got a lot of confidence going into this game as much as I am looking forward to it. Anyway, thanks everyone for watching. Thanks everyone who's dropped a like on the video. I hope you've really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed the chat with Craig at the start from Anfield Agenda. I really enjoyed the chat with you. We've got Jose Mourinho's press conference coming up tomorrow. I'm just going to have a quick look and see if I can tell you what time it's going to be so we can sort of plan the day tomorrow. We've actually got another Liverpool fan on the show tomorrow night. It's all coming in thick and fast. The schedule is Friday. Jose Mourinho press conference, but it's not going to be 3:30 in the morning.
So we have to be mentally ready, physically ready.
Really glad that Pogba's playing today.
10:30 tomorrow morning, Jose Mourinho's press conference. So, yes, we'll be live at 10:30 with Jose Mourinho's press conference then. Thanks everybody for watching. Please do drop a like on the video. I shall speak to you all soon. Thanks for watching.